Hey there, Kevin Yannick of Pit and Quarry Magazine. We've got with us again Anthony Konya of Precision Blasting Services. Anthony, great to see you.
Yeah, great to be back, Kevin.
Well, we've talked about technology a little bit, but let's talk more specifically about this green explosives area where you see it taking the forefront in the future or in coming years. We see green initiatives taking place everywhere. It doesn't matter, what industry or what line of work or business you're a part of, but explosives and blasting are no different apparently with the introduction and the coming of green explosives. So give us a little bit of an update on what you're seeing there right now.
Yeah, so this area of green explosives is a really exciting sort of space, and we've seen it in other areas of explosives, like in the military or the propellant industry. But the civil commercial marketplace has sort of been lagging behind a bit there, and it's not for lack of effort. It's actually because we make very good explosives at a very low cost, and it's difficult to replicate that by making some of these major changes. Now, what green explosives are is they're an explosive formulated to produce no toxic gases of a certain type. And this is one of the areas that the green explosives market's sort of trying to combat or figure out right now. This market has not established yet. It's a new technology that's coming up. On one end of the board, you have your typical green initiatives, which is reduction of carbon, reduction of CO2 and CO. Now, that's one perspective, but in the civil explosives industry, we have sort of a different viewpoint because our most toxic gas and most dangerous gas that we can create for employees or the public is nitrous oxides or NOx's. And we can see these after a blast oftentimes if you notice a big cloud of red or orange or yellow fumes. And the easy solution to eliminate those entirely is remove the nitrogen from the explosive. And so today, that's where most of that civil industry is focusing is how do we get rid of nitrogen from our explosive formulations while ensuring good power, good stability, safe manufacturing, and safe use on the bench. And that's sort of the test that we're being put through right now. Today, the biggest innovation is looking like it's going to come from hydrogen peroxide-based emulsion explosives. There's several formulations that have been developed and are being tested. Many of these have been tested in large scale already, and they seem to be safe, stable, easy to use. The biggest question on this front is going to be, can they bring the power and energy of these up to match our normal explosives? Because if this is going to increase drill and blast costs significantly, we'll probably find other ways to manage these toxic gases rather than switching to an entirely new explosive product.
Yeah, how effective are these green explosives you're talking about right now? And on top of that, I know you're all over the world in your travels, Anthony. Where are you seeing them used the most? And I assume it's regulation that's driving the use of them. Maybe you can provide a little insight on that.
Yeah, so right now, most of these green explosives are not being used full scale. I don't know of any place that's actively manufacturing them in large enough quantities to supply a mine. The major heads of development are in Australia, Europe, and the United States. We're working on them ourselves as well because it is going to be something that's going to be needed in the future. And I think the mining community demands it as well because these NOx's are causing problems. We see groups like the EPA in the United States and several other regulatory bodies limiting these NOx's and base nitrogen. So, for example, in Canada, there's regulations on the amount of nitrogen that's allowed in the water supply or ammonium nitrate. And so there's sort of multiple things we're combating here. Right now, they're not being used on a wide scale, but they'll probably come about in one of these countries where these environmental regulations are going to force them to be used. And in terms of energy right now, depending on the manufacturing and the capabilities, there's somewhere around 40 to 70, 80% of your typical emulsion. There's other groups that claim that they've gotten close to a normal emulsion in terms of strength, but we've yet to see these be applied to a wide scale area where we can really see how they're going to work in the blasting process.
Most of our viewers and readers, Anthony, they're here based in the US. We also extend into Canada. It sounds like they're more on the cutting edge of the implementation of what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're gonna have to be because the regulations that are already in place and that are only going to continue to increase are going to limit this NOx and the nitrogen in the water supply severely. We see this already in places like Canada. We've worked with numerous different mine sites up there to develop new procedures to limit the amount of nitrogen released into, or ammonium nitrate released into the water supply, because these explosives are not available. But I know they're looking forward to it, and several mines in the US are really actively waiting for some of these to be brought to the marketplace. And so that's going to be the big question, is when can somebody get into that area and start developing this technology for full-scale manufacturing?
We'll look for that in the coming years. I'm sure you'll keep us abreast of developments in green explosives with more of your content in Pit and Quarry magazine on pitandquarry.com.
Yeah, I'll be happy to.
All right, Anthony, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.